What's up, y'all? I am back for another video. Today, I am reviewing the first Transporter, and I gotta say, it is a fucking fun little movie. I hadn't seen this movie since, I was a kid, to be honest. Probably around when the third one came out, because I think I watched them, in a row. Um, but I forgot just how simple this movie was. It was just, Frank is this former military who turned into a mercenary, kind of takes jobs, basically getting known as the transporter. He transports kind of like criminals, but eventually, because of one job, he nearly gets killed. So he ends up taking a job, and the thing he ends up taking is an actual person, and Wall Street, who's the villain of the movie, or he's one of them, because there's also May's father, who's also a villain, who turns out to be a trafficker and has her family. So he ends up helping her. He works with this cop named Tarconi. And basically, yeah, that's pretty much the film. So, she gets kidnapped, and he has to kind of try to get her back. So overall, I really love this movie. It's the simplicity, and that's probably what I'm going to title this video. Simplicity works. You don't need something overly complicated. Very simple plot. He even starts out going into his rules, and then he ends up breaking one of his rules because he realizes the package was, sorry about that. The package was moving in his trunk. So, oh shit, because no checking, because he basically doesn't want to get himself incriminated. So that's kind of all. Sorry, fucking hell. People are being fucking loud today. Anyway. So, he doesn't want to get himself incriminated. So I kind of like it. It's just simplicity. They don't go fully into his backstory. You have an idea he was in the military, and he kind of got fucked over, so he decided to become a merc. Simple. I think that's what I like. I like simplicity, Not saying can't from time to time have a, not necessarily convoluted, but complicated story where there's a lot of, background. I'm okay with those stories, but something like this works. Hour and a half movie, you just, you don't fully know what makes Frank tick. You just kind of have an idea. And yeah, so can't wait to get into the sequels. I'm going to announce this right now. When we get into October, because I know the third one, when I review it, is probably going to be when we get close to October. So I might have to try to do it. I'm going to probably, I normally, y'all know, when I do a franchise, I do it week to week. Now, I may have to just take and do 2 and 3 next week. Because when we get into October, I kind of want to focus on horror stuff. October, and then I'm going to say November too. I'm just going to say it now. I'm going to add an extra month. So October and November are gonna be horror focused. Every now and then I'll do a movie that's not horror related, but largely those months are gonna be very horror related. So I might just do 2 and 3 just to get them out the way. And I mean, and I'm also interested to see where it goes. So I'll do 2 maybe because I don't think anything's coming out next week that I plan on seeing it. Not in theaters anyway. That Creator movie, looks good, but I don't know if I'll see that in theaters. Saw, I'm going to watch it, but I probably won't see that in theaters either. I might just stream it. So, in terms of, movies in theaters, because of that, I probably won't review them either. They're probably just going to be movies I watch. So, I might just do Transporter 3, over the weekend. So, I'll do Transporter 2 next Wednesday, and then, maybe not Friday, but next Saturday or Sunday, I'll do Transporter 3. Because I don't plan on reviewing anything new. So, I might mention I watched them in that video, but I don't plan, at least right now, I don't plan on reviewing it. Unless the creator's, amazing or something. But anyway. But yeah. So, I really love this one. The simplicity of it works. I love the fight scenes. It has that, you have a little bit of style to it, but it also has that realism factor. I actually love how creative it was. The scene where he's in, the warehouse and all those guys are trying to get him. And he decides to, cover himself in oil. Because, he had just poured oil on the floor. But then he poured oil on himself. Because he realized they're all trying to grab him. And he can't get grabbed. The creative. I love the creativity. And I like, the villains were alright. They weren't, amazing or anything. I thought Wall Street was hateable. He wanted him to die. I thought his dad was pretty brutal. Gets kicked out of a truck and then gets crushed by the wheels. I know there's another version. I think where he just gets arrested. I prefer the first one. And then May's father. But yeah, like the villains are relatively pretty good. So yeah, I like the movie. So simple little flick. So anyway, tomorrow, Insidious: The Red Door, which basically is Insidious 3 for all intents and purposes. So, and then Saturday, not Saturday, fucking hell, Friday. Sorry, Friday I'll be doing the first X-Men. Saturday, since I'm gonna watch that shitty new Spy Kids. I might as well have that time where I'm gonna torture myself and watch a really bad movie. So I'm gonna roast that on Saturday, and then to be safe, I'll just say Sunday. I mean, who knows if something happens and I see it earlier, maybe I'll review it early. But I'm gonna watch at least as of right now Sunday, because I'm probably gonna watch it Saturday or Sunday. The new Expendables, so I'm gonna review that on either Saturday or Sunday. Probably I'll just say for now Sunday, but maybe Saturday if I see it Saturday, but we'll see. But anyway, let's get into the movie. So the movie stars. We know that he was in the military. No, we learned that later, but yeah, he got fucked over, so became a merc, known as a transporter, because he transports people or things, and he does it usually for criminals, and he has like these 3 rules to basically not incriminate himself. No names, no checking, meaning like he's not going to check what's in the package. I'm trying to remember the third one. Oh, come back to me. But they're all to just not incriminate him, right? So I love this opening scene where he does a transport job for these robbers who are fucking goofy, and like they're trying to force him, and he's like just being all calm, and they have like a gun to him, and it's like Statham, like, 'cause this was Statham's first real lead role. Like, yeah, he was in Jet Li's The One, but he wasn't the lead, and he wasn't even the lead cop, because it was Delroy Lindo who was the cop in that movie, the main one. So, but that was more of a Jet Li film. Like, so I don't really look at that as a Statham movie. I just look at him, he's a character in it. So this was like his first actual lead role. And I gotta say, I thought this was pretty good. Like, I thought he really showed he can lead, and obviously look what ended up happening in the future after that. But yeah, I love that opening scene. They ended up getting themselves caught. Tarconi, who's like this cop that not works, but like kind of knows Frank, but asks him, like, because he saw his car. It's like, oh, did you basically try to incriminate Frank? I like their little banter back and forth. So he ends up doing a job for Wall Street, which ends up transporting this package, but he noticed it moves, but he ends up taking it to Wall Street anyway. But then he gets this suitcase, obviously you think it's money, but it turns out to be a bomb. So we can get rid of like a loose end kind of thing. But he ends up surviving, so he goes back and kills a lot of his people. I love this little action scene. He ends up stealing a car, which turns out that May was in. This is where we meet. It's not May. I keep saying May. I think it's Lee. Actually, now I'm remembering. I think it's Lee, not May. I've been saying her name wrong the whole fucking time. Lee. She was a decent little character, She was kind of like the love interest. She stays overnight at his house. Then Wall Street's people retaliate and attack his house. They manage to escape. She then looks into Tarconi's files for Wall Street to get information, because she wants to try to get her family back. And initially, Frank doesn't want to help because that's not his thing. He just like, I'm just the trans. I don't want to, because she mentions he's in the military, and that's like, this is where we get a little bit. I'm even being nice to say a little bit, like, you kind of get an idea of like where Frank's head is at on that. No, I did it past tense. I like that. Like, I don't need a lot of, like, sometimes I'm cool with not everything needs a backstory. Or I don't need it to be like explored. Sometimes a simple backstory is he was in the military, something happened, he got fucked over and decided to become a merc. That's all I need, you know? But he agrees to work with her. This is where Wall Street gets confronted by Lee and Frank, but he basically doesn't have what they're looking for. And at the same time, her father arrives and basically hold them at gunpoint. They beat up on Frank a little bit. Tarconi takes them. He agrees to help them. Then I think at this point, Lee is captured by Wall Street and her father, and he goes to like a warehouse, and this is where we get the cool little fight scene on the bus. I fucking love it, man. I love how realistic it was. And even the scene where he uses his fucking shirt and ties some people together. I thought that was funny. But like in a good way, not like in a goofy way. Like it fucking worked, man. I love the creativity they put in this fight, like in these fights in general. But yeah, like it wasn't just being generic action scene. But I also like it was stylized a little bit, but it was still realistic. It was a nice little blend. And I love the creativity, like even later in the fight where he pours some oil on the ground and they're all slipping and he decides to pour oil on himself because you know how smart he is. It's like, they're not going to be able to grab me. So he ends up taking them all out. He puts some like metal things on his feet and just kicks everybody's ass. It was a great little fight. Like even the fight on the bus where he was on the last guy and the guy's like about to grab a gun and he throws Frank throws the knife like right where his nuts are. Like basically close to his nuts, and the guy just kind of gave up. He's like, "Fuck it," because he just took out a whole bunch of dudes on a bus. Like, what are you gonna do? So I love it. So yeah, I think he steals a plane, steals one of the trucks, and tries to chase Lee and Wall Street ends up fighting him on the truck. I thought it was a good little fight. Like Wall Street took it to him. It wasn't just like he took Wall Street out, but he wanted him to get it. So when he finally got wrecked, he got kicked out the truck. Sorry, got kicked out the truck, and then he got crushed on top. That's a fucking brutal way to go out. So then Frank gets captured by Lee, who has a gun on him, forces him to get out of the truck, forces him on a cliff, and then he's initially about to, like, you think he's about to hit him with, like, a rock, because he grabs, like, a rock. But then Lee, you hear a gunshot. Initially, her father scoffs, like, oh, you're not going to get help because she's dead, basically saying, because he thought somebody shot her daughter, because he heard a shot go off, so he assumed that. But no, Lee actually had killed somebody and killed, like, the person in the car, and then got out and killed her father. And then basically Tarconi arrives and, tells him good work, and the movie ends. So very simple little movie. It's all it needs to be. I love the fight. The fights in this. Jason Statham, I really think showed he can be a lead and like a future action star in this. Because, look what ends up happening after. I mean, we get a second movie, and then we get a third one, and then obviously you get, I think Death Race was the same year. Because now I'm remembering, I think it said 2008. So the third one was in 2008, same year as Death Race, and then obviously eventually you get Expendables, the Meg movies. Like, Statham really showed he can be a lead action guy. Like, he has it. So, I recommend it. Simple little flick, nothing more, nothing less. Frank is a good character. Lee's a good. I don't remember if she comes back in the sequels. I'll admit I don't remember. So, I'll be watching those. But anyway. Out of 10, actually, before I go into that. Out of 10, I'd give this one a 9 out of 10. Pretty good little action flick. It's all I can really say. Wall Street was a fun little villain. The soundtrack was pretty fun. It was a early 2000s action flick. That's kind of what it was. That's all it needed to be. So, tomorrow, I'm gonna be doing Insidious: The Red Door. I'm very interested to see where they go after two, because I've loved these movies so far. So, and it has escalated in the sense of a good way. Like the first movie I really liked, and then two like stepped it up to where that's my favorite now. If three can somehow be really good at maybe that my new favorite, that would be amazing. So we'll see. Eventually I'll go and probably review the other ones, like the spin-offs at some point, but I want to focus on just the main movies. So I'll be doing that one tomorrow. But yeah, so I can't wait to continue on with that. I really want to slap myself for missing Insidious. Those would have been amazing to see in the theater. Like just how good those are. So anyway, I'm interested to see what the third one is. How the third one is. But anyway, cheers, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow.